people, thanks for joining me. I'm Scotty D, and I've got this beautiful Tom Anderson Angel. It's only a year old, but it's in because it had an unfortunate ding, and the ding is so small, I thought it would be good to document and put a YouTube video up, just in case someone wants to try this at home. Shouldn't be too darn hard if you have the right tools and materials. Okay, so the back of this guitar was grain filled with a white or a very light color fill instead of the typical dark fill. That's why it looks so cool. It kind of looks like ocean waves, but it is swamp ash. And I never knew you could get such a cool look out of swamp ash, but here you go. Tom figured out a way to do it. And if you don't know who Tom Anderson is, he's like a boutique guitar builder in Newbury Park, California, and I had the pleasure of meeting him, I should say, about 25 years ago when I was a wood salesman out there in Southern California. So I was sitting in the office one day, and this guy calls up asking for me. He says, "Hey, I'm Tom Anderson. I'm looking for some lumber." And we were a plywood company. We didn't even stock the lumber he was looking for. He was looking for like 10-quarter genuine mahogany to cut some necks out of. We didn't even stock that. But anyways, I was the only guitar player at the company, and I had so much of an interest in why he was calling that he ended up telling me all about what he was doing. And the funny story about it is, okay, first of all, I had another customer at the time in Newbury Park that must have referred him to me, and when he told me he was going to fax me a list of the artists that play his guitars, I was like, okay, send it over. Here's the damage right here. So a fax machine was this machine where you fed a piece of paper into it, and it used a telephone line, like a landline, to transmit a signal. And on the other end of the signal, it would print out a page of that exact page that was fed into it on the other end. Right here. Fax machine. So you could walk around with a printout of the image instead of looking at it on a screen like we do today. We get emails or texts and we look at them on our screens. But back then you had to print out a piece of paper. And I was like so amazed because one of the artists on there was like Keith Richards, and there were other guys on there like the guy from Steely Dan, or it just blew my mind that these guys were playing this guitar that I've never heard of. I've never heard of Tom Anderson at the time. Everybody knows now, but that's my background story. That's the only story I have. A ding like this is so small and stuff, it's going to be really hard. I'm going to be really careful, and we're going to use some Glu+Boost. I'm going to use a brand new X-Acto blade. Before I even agreed to work on this, I made sure that the customer understood that although I'd fill in the dent and do my best, that he might still see either the outline of it or possibly some surface scratches from me level sanding it and polishing it. And he was okay with that. He just doesn't want to see the damage that he did. He's okay if he notices my repair work, just wants to erase this kind of from his memory of what happened here. So I'm just going to lightly scratch up inside the crater. I'm just shrinking myself down, I'm working on a crater. I'm going to fill it right up. Then I'm going to wipe it with a Q-tip and naphtha, which is a cool, refreshing product I get from the tobacco store. Naphtha, naphtha, naphtha. Oop. This cleans it. There are two forms of paper towels that I use. This one's called Viva, and back when Ted Woodford was first starting out his YouTube channel, and I was starting mine, we chatted a little bit about paper towels, and I asked him, if he noticed paper towels scratching the polyester finishes. Like, if you use this cheap type of garden variety paper towel on this type of finish, you'll actually scratch it up. And he told me he uses Viva, and from then on, I've never wiped a poly finish with anything other than Viva. I'll be using the Fill and Finish Ultra Thin Glue Dry Accelerator, a small cup, and a couple of those finish repair toothpicks. They're extra sharp. So first I transfer the Fill and Finish Ultra Thin. I never hold the bottle over the guitar, because you can't control the drip rate of this stuff. Okay, I'm going to get it on these toothpicks, and I want to make sure I have some clean virgin toothpicks that don't have any stain on them. I'm going to take the accelerator and spray it on the Q-tip. I'm going to hold it right there on the ding. And introduce that accelerating phenomenon. Next, I'm going to zoom in I'm going to take a little Glu+Boost onto the toothpick and transfer it right there onto the project there. It instantly dried. Stuff works fast. And then just accelerate. We've got a bump now instead of a crater. It's proud of the surface. I'll let this sit for a day, just to make sure it's fully cured. I'll hit it with the accelerator a few more times today, and then tomorrow we'll level sand and polish this. Some of it just got stuck on my finger and it ended up right there. If this happens to you, don't freak out. Don't try to scratch it off with a razor blade. Just get you some of this super glue remover and don't be distracted by any phone calls. Put a little bit of it on a Q-tip. Oh. It squirts out real thin. That's wet. Polyester is a catalyzed finish, so there's really nothing that'll dissolve it. But this stuff will dissolve CA glue. We're going to be buffing this entire area, I guarantee you anyways. Yeah. That's for just in case you have a mishap at home, kids. That Q-tip became contaminated after the first couple wipes, so I'm going to put a little more of the solvent on the Viva, a clean Viva, and get rid of all that streakiness that I made. Perfect. So I only have to work on this spot tomorrow. Accelerate a few more times. That's what Rick Rosenberg's told us to do. Accelerate once, accelerate twice, third time's a charm. The other thing I did before I put the guitar on the wall for the night is put the Stumac wet sandpaper variety in some water to soak. You want this pliable and soft before you use it on a guitar. You don't want to use it dry, fresh out of the pack. Anyways, it's the next morning and we're ready to scrape this baby flush. Got a razor blade with some Scotch tape riggers on the sides. I'm also going to double it up with some masking tape riggers. What'd you call me? A rigger. And I'm going to scrape the top off this hump. It's like a little mountain. We started off with a crater and we ended up with a mountain. See, that's carefully taking the top off the mountain. And you can come in at a variety of angles with your rigger or with your blade. I heard it once described too, you want to come across obliquely like a snowplow comes down the street, you know. He doesn't come down the street head on like this. He comes with the plow. He doesn't plow this way. He plows this way. Whoosh, so it scrapes off to the side. Anyways, I'll do this for a little while. And then I'll take the masking tape outrigger away and work my way down with the Scotch tape there. Now I have this file. It's not smooth to the touch yet. But you know, this file for fret ends has this rounded side and this kind of sharp side. So I want to avoid using the sharp side. I want to lay it down on here with the sharp side up slightly and just work my way around the edges. My razor blade caught or scraped a little bit outside of the lines already, so I knew that was going to happen. That's it's not the end of the world. So I just want to kind of bridge across the crater and knock down all the high spots. I'm going to scratch up the poly a little bit. But then we'll use the wet sandpaper to take these scratches away. Calgon, take me away! The difference between using a file and not using a file is getting it butt-ass smooth. We want to get this baby butt-ass smooth. Next, I got the pink eraser, and I got the 2000 grit out of the water, and I got it dried off. I don't want any excess water. So I got a piece that's about the width of the eraser. I'm going to wrap it around like that and do a little belt sanding, kind of. Do a little sanding like this. And I got some Simple Green detergent water. It's a cleaner. It's a lubricate. It's all good. And like I thought when I told him, you're still going to see an outline you actually see an outline and you see this like crack that goes straight across it. I couldn't get rid of that. So as the water evaporates up out of here, you'll see it's perfectly smooth, but it's all scuffed up here now with 2000 grit scratches. So the next thing I use is the Trizact 3000. And after the Trizact 3000, we have more of a fine, scratchy situation going here, this bigger area. And we can work that with some polishing compound. Correction, you want to use the Ultra Cut compound, Mirrored Lace 105. It's not a polishing compound, it'll be more like a it'll actually create its own little bits of scratches. And again, Viva paper towels, guys. You gotta spend money to make money. And that's still looking all scratched up. So I have another compound that's even coarser than this. I'm going to get that out now. Actually, I decided to hit this again with the same and just go a little faster and be a little more patient and change directions a little bit. And then when I flip it over to the dry side of the Viva to buff it, it looks like I'm there, dude. I'm there, dude. That's it. Well, yeah, I still see a little swirl. So let's get another fresh piece. Because the swirl, sometimes the swirl is from a little piece of debris on the towel. So another warning about using clean, sterile products. You don't want to grab an old t-shirt off the floor. It could have a hunk of something on it. And then you can start adding scratches that you didn't want. A little area of some swirls. And he said he could live with that. He just didn't want to see that crater. And maybe that'll do it. So we'll come in and, not only just look at the defect area, which is here, to make sure there's no ripple, but you can see there's a circle. You have to get just in the right area to see the scratches here. So got some more buffing to do, and at any point you can go back a few steps and work your way back. Go back down to the 2000, to the 3000 Trizact, to the Ultra Cut, and then once you're satisfied with the Ultra Cut, you can move on to the Ultimate Compound. Ultimate Compound is the next finest that I'll use. Fresh piece of the Viva. And it's this circle I want to get rid of. Very small amount of the Ultimate Compound. I want to go vigorously in a couple different directions. Fast and vigorous. Did I get rid of it? Yeah. That gets rid of it. So you can still see a couple scratches back over here, but I got rid of it there. Okay, one more little one. Oops, that's the, oh, see, I got them mixed up. I got to throw this one out now. Okay, new piece of towel. Hold on. Fresh piece of the Viva. I don't use a whole paper towel. I just rip it into small sections. Let me just put this Ultra Cut away so I stop grabbing for it. I've moved on to this. And this stuff is kind of nice. It has a cinnamon scent. At least the bottle I have has a cinnamon scent. After a while, my fingers start to get sore, so I have to like back up my fingers with my other hand. Or I could just switch hands, but change positions. But yeah, I like to go real fast. And that is my secret that I learned. I mean, I learned it originally from Dan Earlywine's video, and I've modified it to work with, you know, the stuff I use. He used different stuff. Now I can see some scratches I put in right here that weren't there before. So maybe I'll move on to this one. This is the next finest. This is the ultimate polish. Someone's trying to bother me. Ultimate polish. Boy, that looks nice. Yep. I was telling him, you know, this is the first little area. The next area will probably be around the edges, and he probably won't have to worry about that too much. Because everybody's used to your guitars. Our guitars get dinged up around the edges. It looks natural. It's no big deal. You don't cry about it. But when it happens on the very front of your guitar, and it's the first time, it's very traumatic, especially if it's a $2,000 guitar. But anyways, we'll plug it in and see how it sounds. I haven't played it yet. I'm sure it's going to get some pretty cool heavy metal tones. But it probably has some beautiful, clean, crystal clear sound too. I'm just imagining. I haven't heard it yet. Let's see. Look at all these blue guitars. I just thought this was a trip that I had this many blue guitars all at once. 4 from customers. Now this one's mine. I bought this one recently. This is my newest guitar. I love it. It's the Sire Larry Carlton, and it has a 5-way switch, so you get some single coil sounds as well as the humbucker sounds. Just this neck is the fastest, most effortlessly to play neck I've ever played on. I bought this one. This one's a 1999 Gibson Blues Hawk, and I bought this one for all of its tones. These are the Blues 90s. They're not wound as high as a regular P90, and it has a 6-way Variac switch. I think that's what they call that. The old Ibanez bass. This Michael Kelly came in. Haven't fiddled around with that one yet. Forgot to mention this one does have a coil tapper, and it's only functional between, you know, in the middle position when you have both humbuckers going. If you pull this out, you get both single coil, like a telly sound. And then the twins, here are these music bands, the Music Men. They're in for some fretwork. It's weird because this one's developed a ski jump on the bass side, and this one's developed a ski jump on the treble side. If you look at them down the length of the neck, it's weird because they're flat on one side and ski jumped on the other side. Twins behave badly. Let's listen to that. Tom Anderson.
for tuning in. I appreciate you hanging around and subscribing and liking and commenting. It all helps. Catch you later.